Welcome. Happy April 1st, April Fool's Day to everybody. I'm Kurt, and this video is my Good Life meditation. This is something that I do every morning just after I wake up to start my day. And it's a very important activity because it's the one activity in the day that where I stop to remind myself of what's important in life and why I'm striving to live well, and what my aim in all of this is, and what tools I remind myself of what tools I have to keep myself on the right path. The right path being the path of virtue, of being a good citizen, a good husband, a father, a brother, a son, and so that I can pass my days with some sense that I wasn't just filling time and I wasn't waiting out the clock. So let's begin. First, a review of yesterday and last night. Boy, this was a tough week. Yesterday was better. It wasn't easy by any chance. Didn't get to take any breaks. Those seem to be a thing of the past. The idea of taking a mid-morning or a mid-afternoon break, that's gone. The day is just full. Was up. I didn't sleep well. Thinking about work, of course. And but I wouldn't call yesterday. Well, I mean, can't even call it a bad day in any sense. Even this week, it's not a bad week. I'm very lucky to have a good job and a safe home and clean drinking water and plenty of food to eat. Too much sometimes. But it's all relative, right? I mean, even thinking again about the Will Smith incident, slapping Chris Rock. I mean, Will Smith and his wife, to be up there in that most elevated, lofty stratosphere of society, of fame and celebrity and wealth, and to be, the VIP seats on a night when the whole world is watching and about to receive honors and recognition, the likes of which not even the fewest of the 1% even can know anything like that. And then to have it revealed, to make evident to everyone that even that isn't enough. You can then still have a bad day. What hope is there for the rest of us, under such circumstances? But we just trudge on. I guess the measure is how we're living in accordance with our principles and towards whatever objectives we laid out. So it was that kind of day. It's been that kind of week. Let's do the good life. Yeah, I am tired, and my allergies have me. I didn't sleep well. I've had a tough week, and I just began to sip my coffee, so it's going to take me a little bit to catch up with the man that I want to be. First, my 7 objectives. Always want to be prepared to die. Have everything in order. My house, my affairs, my work, my relationships, and whatever it is I want to do in whatever striving I want to make on behalf of my own life, which is my book, Going Alone, and it's done. More than done. I also want to make good and effective use of my time, to not spin out the days with distraction, waiting out the clock till a better day, and dreaming of some life to come after death, where I'll see my loved ones again and there'll be no pain. None of that hope for me. I don't deny myself that because I want to suffer. I deny myself that because it's clearly and evidently not true. This appears to be the only life that we get, and to fill my mind with hopes of another chance, a second round, version 2, is to lull myself to sleep. Well, during the only time that I'll have to live, and I don't want to waste my time that way. The next objective is to develop and maintain good and sound life principles. These 7 and 30. Next is to cultivate good emotional reactions. No flying off the handle. Staying in control. I had that happen twice yesterday. I was really exhausted, and I was in meetings that I was nervous about. And neither the exhaustion nor the nerves, I don't believe, came through. I kept my stoic, steady, staid posture, tone, engagement, and I didn't stumble or stutter or blink. That's what I mean by good emotional reactions. Whatever is happening on the inside, I'm maintaining a steady state on the outside, because it all resolves itself in the end. Not even in the end. Things seem to resolve themselves one way or another in every case, until they don't. It's like, pardon me, it's coffee always does this. It's like the Stoics would say, you'll survive it or it'll kill you. Don't worry. I didn't say it that way, but I like the way that comes out though. You'll survive it or it'll kill you. The next objective is to perform good actions, just to do good things throughout the day. Now I'm doing it again. I'm going all hippie again. Then to recognize true limits and true opportunities. I did that yesterday. I actually called myself out. I was in the middle of something, and I said, true limits, Kurt, true limits. I guess that's a result, a consequence of this daily activity, because I do this every day, and I hold each of these objectives and principles in my mind, and I look at them. They're there when I need them. Next and last on the objectives is the reminder just to do one thing at a time, and to do that thing slowly. I almost broke character. In the middle of that one, I almost jumped up for joy. Just about. Because I remembered today is Friday. It's a working Friday. That means this is the day that I get to have lunch with Yumiko. So we have a tradition that we go out to lunch together, and on the Fridays that I work. Maybe Olive Garden. They have a new one open here in Menifee. We like that place. We typically share the tour of Italy meal. It's very good. Lots of breadsticks, great salad, endless bowls of salad. Not that we can do more than one bowl. And then I need to stop by Wells Fargo, our bank, and get some cash, because the ice cream man, I haven't had cash to buy it for Emi when I don't run outside and do the ice cream man, ice cream man, ice cream man. Although he knows where we live and work, and he slows down in front of the house when when we come out. Okay, those are my 7 objectives. Now let's do the 30 principles. I feel good. I feel better. You know, this trudge of life. I think we're kind of, with our child nearly grown and gone, I think we're kind of at the point where we can maybe soon rest a little. I mean, it's not like I'm working a slave galley. But it's all things relative, right? I mean, hold on. I don't even want to let that thought escape. The place that I work is absolutely fantastic. Any fatigue or stress or anything that I'm describing here is a consequence of who I am, not my workplace. I deliberately came back to my old job because it's really that good. It's a great place to work. I was there for 5 years before I went off and tried something else. And within a pretty short time, I realized that I'd made a mistake and I needed to go back. But I'd made a commitment at this new place, and I wanted to see that commitment through. And I did. It took 2 years to see that commitment through. And then I went back. And I'm so glad to be there. There's no place else that I would rather be in terms of work than where I am now. Yet, it's hard. Here we go with the principles. Number 1 is the principle of war. To always be fighting against any proposition of truth that seems important, especially if that proposition of truth comes from me. 2, the principle of reason and the sub-principles of honesty, objectivity, and doubt, which are the mechanism and the frame of mind and the approach that I take to the world to ferret out truth from fantasy, from fiction, and from hope. 3 is the homunculus, the substitution for the concept of a soul. I don't think that we have a soul. I don't think anything survives our death, but we do have what's between our ears right now, this consciousness that is engaged and emanates from our electrical wiring, the processes within our brain and nervous system. 4 is the Anchorhold, the idea that the homunculus is ultimately quite alone within our brain. We cannot really connect with others, even if we hold them in our arms. We are still separated by a void, all of us. Next is the home of good and evil, the suggestion that right and wrong do not exist as absolutes in the world. The 10 Commandments are just words in a book. What we have are opinions, typically subjective opinions about what is good and bad and right and wrong. And we engage in the world with those, and we do discuss and deliberate with others and modify them accordingly. It's very dangerous when those things are substituted for impressions of absoluteness when we are unchangeable, because then they become ironclad and are no longer available for revision. That's why dogma is dangerous. That's why authority is very treacherous, and that's why faith, above all, is a sin, because faith is a position where we no longer need to employ reason to understand. We simply accept because we've chosen to accept. Next is the atomic principle. Everything is made of little bits and pieces, flowing and changing and forever transforming. The principle of purpose. My purpose are to be a good husband and father, a virtuous man, where virtue is defined as the improvement of the well-being of thinking creatures, and to pursue the sharing of my message of going alone and the good life, which is what I'm doing right now. Well, I better take a sip. And I stumbled on 2 of the principles there. Did you see them? I stumbled and caught myself. Going fast now. Kind of fun. Next comes the principle of maturity. No, pirate ride. Caught myself. Stumbled again. Pirate ride suggests that free will is an illusion, a very convincing illusion. Interesting reading James Boswell's Life of Johnson, how twice now in volume 1 the concept of free will came up, and it seems that there was quite a camp at that time, 18th century, that were in the position that free will is indeed an illusion. In fact, a fact that an idea that Dr. Johnson practically ran from, and which Boswell noted that if he would only apply his formidable intellect to the question, he would dispatch it with ease. Whew. Interesting. The evidence mounts, and the evidence of others who have thought the process through mounts as well. But yet, how convincing it seems, how much it seems that we are making our choices, and that they are our own, and that we would actually have the opportunity to make any choice other than the one we actually did. Yet I can't prove it, and I sin when I exercise faith to support this proposition. Forgive me, I sin. It's kind of fun to say. I remember when I used to say it when I was a believer. I remember when I went down on my knees to give my life to Christ, and that sentiment rose in me. That sentiment of wanting connection and offering myself, and sincere what's the word? Conviction wasn't quite the word. Supplication, maybe, is the right word. To a power that to whom I wanted allegiance, to whom I wanted connection, and then the subsequent realization that that was an empty longing. There really wasn't anything there. I was simply on bended knees to an empty sky, and that wasn't very courageous. That's not a very willful way to live. But it is a good way to be distracted and to wait out the end of life. Not the way I wanted to live, and not the way I have chosen to live. Got a little distracted there, huh? It's coming back on track. So free will, that's out the door. Then comes maturity, and the sub-principles of wisdom and fortitude. We're wise when we remember and are strong. And then the social principle, we need one another. The principle of public speaking. Here, I lost my stride. I was going there good for a bit. It was coming out really nice. Felt like kind of like a rap battle. I got my principle of purpose. I got my principle of the homunculus. Okay, then public speaking. The suggestion that I have to be careful about all my communications, and use my compose good paragraphs and sentences. Not burp in public, and to never ever gossip. Almost did yesterday. I saw it coming though. I was talking to someone, and I could see, half a mile away. Oh, you're going to be tempted to gossip, Kurt. Here it comes. Don't do it. Don't do it. And I didn't do it. Cheers. Next comes distraction, I think. No, temperance. Controlled consumption of life. Then the horror show. Life is an absolutely terrifying place. For humans and animals and plants as well. Lions and tigers and bear, oh my. Then that which must be borne, which is we must bear the fact of the horror show and the responsibilities that we've taken on and the choices that we've made. And then comes the Feast of Offal, when we shout out at the world and are upset and spew it all out. And soil everyone in the process. And then others do the same, and they soil each other. And he said, and she said, and he said, and she said. And then two principles, distraction and agency, and the great indifference. Distraction is where we keep ourselves occupied so that we don't have to witness the universe without God. So that we can keep ourselves thinking that there's a forever and there's a second chance, and that things will be all right. The horror show will come to an end. And then the agency is us. And then the great indifference is not us. The emptiness out there. The thing we don't want to see. The thing that is part of us, that we are part of, that we will go back to. We are already a part of. We are already there. We're just enlivened a little bit due to a nice reserve of sunshine, bouncing off of our planet and getting absorbed, energy getting absorbed on a daily basis. And we are an open system. Entropy, we're an uphill swim against entropy. These are our brief lives, the fact of we are here, our animated living in purpose is like a salmon up against the river. But we'll reach that spawning ground eventually. And then necrosis, is that what it's called? The beginning of death. The living death, as the horror show envelops us. And we go down. And we go down hard. And each of us will wind up again in the nothing. But this time, there's no coming back. Our atoms, our molecules, our compounds may be reused by others to follow, but never by us. Again, we are gone forever. No wonder we distract ourselves. Who wants to see that? I do. Because knowing that animates me, motivates me, moves me to live. Okay, next is the best seat in the house. To not want to be anyone else, be anywhere else, or be doing anything else. But to be okay where I am, who I am, and what I'm doing. Right here, right now, right when. Next is the Path of Wildness, which is a way upward and forward into and through new life. It's the trick that allows us to build chapters upon our life and to not rest stagnant in the first pool we find. Some are quite content with that. Not me. No time. No time to waste. Only time to live. Or sleep. The next principle is the risk of, the risk of avoiding risk. I'm getting them confused. The surface level risks and the deep risks. The surface level risks are education and career, family, home, and preparing for old age. And we all know how to do those things because that's what society wants us to do. That's what our parents want us to do. That's what banks want us to do. That's what we're compelled to do. But there's also a deep risk. The deep risk of not heeding that little voice inside of us that's saying, find yourself. Have an adventure. Build your own story. Live. No. I'm gonna get this degree, and no. I'm gonna start this career and get married and have a family, and I'll tend to that when I'm old and retired. Some can, but most can't. It's because we become someone different. By the time we reach retirement age, we're withered, spent, sour, and dejected. Even if outwardly we're optimistic and strong, we're not who we were in our youth. We cannot face or apprehend or experience the world as we could have when we were 20. We cannot make the mistakes that we could have afforded to when we were 20. So we don't. We confine our activities and our interests to our garage or our sitting room or a trip on a cruise ship. That's safe. And then we wither and die. We expend into the end. Kind of wondering, what did I miss? That's the risk. The next is sin and damnation. There are 8 sins in my worldview. And these are falsity, being untrue, credulity, believing things too easily, hope, wanting without acting, faith, believing things where the fact that we believe is the evidence, is held up as the evidence to support the belief. What a ridiculous thing. How the hell did faith ever become a virtue? Superstition, a category of belief that is almost practically regarded as nonsense. Authority, belief because, wow, that church looks impressive, or that institution seems to know what they're talking about, or that guy's really, that snake oil salesman sure has a fancy dresser. Dogma, believing something because of the, a canonical text or a blessed tradition. And then lastly, number 8 is superstition. Gossip. Again with gossip. It's just that dangerous. Damnation comes when we engage in any of these sins, and we wind up living a damned life in the here and now, because there ain't no damn to come. Count our blessings, right? But won't I be surprised if I find otherwise? Won't I be surprised? But I don't think I will. Let's see now, sin and damnation, complete oblivion. When we're dead, that's the end. We're not coming back. There won't be anything after. No heaven or hell. We're not going to see our loved ones again. We're not going to have a chance to make up. We're not going to have any chance to have justice applied. So better do all of those things now. I mean, the justice part, leave that to the courts. But reach out to those that we want to reach out to. Make amends where we can. Don't wait. Now comes the Great Life Adventure. Simply a recommendation to have one or more adventures in life that become the story of our life, the seed, the centerpiece, the core of our identity. And I recommend seeking that adventure, particularly in the decade of the 20s, the whole decade if you can. Give yourself that. First part for education. I don't care what people are saying now about not needing a college degree. College is a good experience, and get that degree. It'll open doors. It'll open your mind, and it'll be fun in the process. Something to look back on. People tend to do that. Tend to look back on their college years, even if they struggled, even if it was hard, as an enriching, enjoyable time. In the same way that sometimes veterans might look back on their years of service with kind of a fond nostalgia, even if it was hard, because it was a time to grow. It was a time to develop, and it's a very worthwhile experience to have. And then once you got that degree, take it home to your parents' house. Say, Mom, Dad, hold on to this. I'm 24 years old, 23, 24, 25. I'm going out into the world. I'll be back in 6-7 years. Go out into the world and have yourself a great life adventure. See the world, do the grand tour. Grab a backpack. Whatever it takes. Get a job in a foreign country. Go to Japan and be an English teacher. Whatever it takes, and just live. And when you come back, bloody, bruised, broke, maybe nearly dead, perhaps. Even if you die, it's not such a bad thing. You died living, right? And then when you come back, boy, won't you have some stories? Boy, won't you have an identity? Sure, the people that didn't do that are going to be 5 or 6 years ahead of you in their career. Maybe they'll already have a house and a family. Maybe they'll already be supervisors in their jobs. Well, you're just getting started out. But they're still longing. They're still, maybe, not all people are like this, but some of them are. Their chips are on the table for their retirement. They're saying, I'm going to wait. I'll attend to all of this surface level risk now. I'll cash out at 62, and then I'll live. Not perhaps realizing that the man or woman that they become at age 62 may no longer want that, may no longer have enough courage to do any of that, may not even be here, may be dead already. You've already cashed out your chips. You've already spent those winnings, and you've got a lifetime of memories ahead of you to carry with you. Even if cancer strikes you at a later age, maybe in your 40s or your 50s, you can go down having lived already. Having lived, having achieved that deeper risk. Boy, I went on and on about the risk of winning risk, huh? But that's the message I like to convey out of it. Now, the season of philosophy is next. Time to record what we've learned along the way. And then the bullseye, no, not a bullseye aim. Oh yeah, no, it is the bullseye aim. There's the next one. Bullseye aim. We strive for the bullseye target we usually miss. Then the uphill climb. Life is just a continual striving upward and upward. And then nothing is enough. Less is better. And the last principle is, what is the last principle? Oh, the principle of fun. Reminder to have a good time. Like I'm going to do today. My wife and I are going to have lunch together. I can't wait. Olive Garden down the street. Endless breadsticks, salad, tour of Italy. And then it's the weekend. And I've got some fun things to do. Oh, and I'm working my way through volume 2 of The Life of Samuel Johnson by James Boswell. Really enjoyed volume 1. Yay. Anyway, now for today. Today, it's a working Friday, which means I get to start half an hour later and end half an hour sooner. So I'll start my work day at 8 o'clock and end my day at 4 o'clock. I've got status reports to do today. I've got to go through and catch up on all the action items, make sure all the action items are done. I am hoping that the team was able to complete get that one task done yesterday that we had a deadline on. I pinged them about it. They seemed like they were working on it. And I have some work to do on the other project to make sure that we have everything in order for the license out, giving licenses out. I mean, I'm talking too much detail. I have a full day ahead of me. Not as full as was the last week. Maybe I'll actually get to take a break today and actually do a little yoga. Stretch, downward dog. Anyway, that's my good life meditation for today. Be safe, but not too safe. Have a great day. And happy April Fools. And you know what? Tomorrow is my 30th wedding anniversary with my wife. Yeah. No, we do have an event planned, but we're postponing a little bit. We're going to take a little vacation in June. April just wasn't a right time to do it because we both are quite busy with work. Although I would regret that in the long run. We shouldn't have postponed, but it's the right thing to do for work. Okay, take it.